All right. And then this will air this Saturday.
Oh, okay, cool.
Okay. On 12:20 a.m. Tell your friends.
Exactly. Social media.
Oh, yeah, I
Exactly,
do.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
We'll have
Now,
to do a
Patty's really good
selfie.
about that.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, shoot. I didn't turn my phone off. That's
That's okay.
number 2.
Busted.
Yeah, sometimes I have to tell people who are animated, can't do this.
I know, I'm
Right?
really animated,
Yeah.
so I'll just be like,
Well, that would be both of us.
yeah, exactly.
And so, I mean, you can do this all you want. Just don't pound on it and try not to touch the mic if you can.
Okay.
Is it set up okay
Yeah,
for
it's
you?
perfect.
Okay, you got your chair close enough
Yeah.
that you can.
I'm
I don't
good.
want you to hurt yourself.
No, I'm good.
All right,
Thank
we
you.
all set?
Yep.
And what I have to do is do like about a few seconds of silence before and after to kind of get, then they splice it together with the music and commercials.
Okay, no problem.
All right. Adrianne Peixotto. Okay, here we go. Welcome. You're listening to The Best of Investing. I'm your host, Edward Brown, along with my co-host, Patti Cohen of Pacific Union International. Our phone number is 888-912-1190. You're going to use that number to answer the trivia questions for a 5-pack tanning certificate given away during this show. Now, that certificate is not sponsored by the radio station, but by Tan Bella Tanning Salon with 2 locations in San Francisco and 1 in Marin. Today's trivia theme is random trivia. Now, our special guest is Adrianne Peixotto of Pro Insurance. Patti, you know Adrianne. Why don't you introduce her?
I've worked with Adrianne for a lot of years, and not only is she just wonderful and bubbly to work with, but maybe more importantly, she literally is saving me at this moment $9,000 a year on rental properties, auto insurance, combining them, flood insurance, and does really all lines of insurance and is totally known in our real estate community. So I think there's a lot of things that people out there don't know that she can impart where it would save them money.
Okay, so let's actually start off with flood insurance.
Sure.
Because remember, you have to get a little bit closer to the mic. There you go. So the thing about flood insurance, who's requiring it? Because I guess you have to be in a flood zone per se, or how does that work?
So you can purchase flood insurance on any property. The way it works that required would be the mortgage company. So if they have a loan on your home, they would require you to have a flood insurance policy if there's a flood zone requirement. So if it's in a high-risk flood zone.
And that changes, doesn't it?
It
Because I know
does.
some people who, like, they didn't used to be in a flood zone, but now they are because of shifting and
Oh, yeah.
rains and all that.
Yeah, every few years FEMA goes through and remaps the area. And right now in Marin County, it changed in 2016, March 16th, 2016. So the grandfathered rate ended March 17th, 2017. So there's a little bit of hurting going on right now with the FEMA rates.
And can people fight that, or how does that work?
So there's alternatives now. There's other insurance companies coming into the marketplace to offer flood insurance at a discounted rate. It's the same coverages. It's just not backed by FEMA. And some people think that that's not a bad thing.
Yeah, usually if things get too expensive, new companies will come in and the competition.
Yeah.
Makes it, because, I was mentioning that I heard stories where premiums were $80,000 and then somehow it got down to like $5,000 or less.
Right. Yeah. With Patty's policy, she has a rental property in Napa, and the rates were 25% higher because it's a rental, and then another surcharge on top of that just because of FEMA's rate increase. And she was paying about $4,500.
$4,788.
$4,788.
Never paid attention to, but I got it. I was shocked. I was like, Adrianne, why is my bill so high? And she's like, well, that was with the company you were with before, but I can shop it for you. She got it down to $918.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we just did that this weekend,
Yeah.
actually.
Now, when I think of FEMA, I think of Hurricane Katrina and all that kind of stuff. And does it have to do with the fact that maybe some people just go without insurance, and that's why FEMA comes in, and then it ends up going on the backs of people who do get flood insurance?
Sure. Actually, I think it's more of they're still recovering from Katrina as well as any other hurricanes that have happened. They're trying to get their money back from everything that's been paid out. It's an insurance company still, regardless if it's FEMA backed.
Yeah.
So they are definitely looking to make sure that they're not losing money, more as being profitable as an organization.
And with global warming, it's going to get worse.
Yeah. And
Oh, yeah.
they've changed their rulings where you get a 25% surcharge if it's not your primary residence on top of their already really high rates.
Is that the assumption that you're going to walk away from it? I mean,
They just think that it's more of an exposure. So there's federal laws that state that you have to have reasonable expense for a primary residence, and it's not for vacation rentals or secondaries.
or maybe because, like, a good example that I can just think of is a vacation rental where you're not there, it's empty, and you didn't realize it flooded until, a neighbor tells you,
Right.
and there's more damage, right?
And then also vacation rentals are near South Carolina, near hurricanes, near places that flood because you want to be by the water.
Yeah,
Right, yeah, Tahoe, Hawaii, all those areas are definitely getting hurt.
Sure. But again, being a primary residence compared to a vacation or a rental, I mean, if you have a rental property, you would think that your renters would tell you, hey, the place flooded, right?
You would think.
I mean, that's what I'm wondering, like, why do you get penalized? I can understand a vacant place.
There's just legislation that does not allow FEMA to surcharge for a primary residence, so they're making it up on the back end essentially.
Oh, great.
Yeah,
But it's kind of also unfair for the people who pay for insurance to cover the people who don't have insurance.
agreed,
Totally.
agreed.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's kind of like health insurance, I guess, then, too,
Totally.
isn't it?
Well, and we're seeing in the marketplace, especially here in Marin, where people have not had a mortgage for a while and are buying new people coming into the market, and they're having to get flood insurance where it was never covered. And so the rates can be higher because the property was never covered.
I got a simple solution. Why don't we just have no insurance and just let FEMA just come every time that there's a fire or flood or anything, just let the government pay for it. And it's
I like
free
it.
money, right?
I like it. I like
Of course,
it.
that doesn't help you, though, as an agent, though, right?
There's other insurances that can
Yeah.
help because I'm not a big fan either.
Really? Well, there you go. And see, I appreciate that. That's an honest person,
Honest. Totally.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell you what, we're going to cut to our first commercial break. It's kind of a fast segment there. We are going to go for our first trivia question here. And if, Adrian, if you know the answer, don't answer it yet because we'll let you answer when we come back from break, all right?
Okay.
Got a couple of, these aren't too hard. Okay. What presidents, vice presidents were Aaron Burr and George Clinton? All right, that's the question. So who was the president at the time when these guys were vice presidents? Does that make sense?
Aaron Burr and
George Clinton.
who? Okay.
No relation, as I understand, to Hillary or Bill.
I thought I heard a Bill.
Yeah. Well,
We go into the future?
Aaron Burr. Oh, yeah. Aaron Burr kind of goes back a few generations there, but George Clinton, yeah. Okay, so who was the president at the time that those guys were vice president? That's our question, all right? Call 888-912-1190. If you're the first caller with the correct answer, you're going to win that free 5-pack tanning certificate, all right? One more time, we're going to ask the question. What presidents, vice presidents, were Aaron Burr and George Clinton respectively, not respectfully, respectively. All right, don't touch that dial. The best of investing will be right back.
Disrespectfully.
Yeah, respectively,
I did just see
respectively,
Hamilton,
disrespectively.
so
What's that?
I just saw Hamilton last weekend.
you
Oh, did you?
It was amazing.
I heard it was really good.
I've heard somebody say
It was
that, yeah.
like we bought our tickets like almost 8 months in advance,
Wow.
and it was still $5.50 a ticket. When I
Isn't that
looked at our
amazing?
tickets just recently, they were over $1,000 each though.
It's
It's
ridiculous.
insane.
That's
It's
really
insane.
I'll wait till
I mean, we were in a great. Yeah, I mean, it was awesome.
Free enterprise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. I look at it and I say, like I think people who stand in line for hours at Star Wars or
Mhm.
something. It's like, for days. It's like, just wait a couple of
Yeah.
days. See, I mean, I don't understand that.
Yeah,
I heard the tickets were very expensive.
they.
Now, was it in San Francisco?
Mhm. It was at the
Okay.
Orpheum.
Gotcha.
It's done actually. Last weekend was the last weekend.
Oh,
Now
really?
it's going to LA.
Okay, see, they're taking their
But
minds
they,
off
it's
of
funny,
it,
that
yeah.
Orpheum Theater, and the seats are so,
dingy.
it is, the area and the seats are so uncomfortable, they're so old.
Yeah.
It's like, there's something recently there. Oh, actually, I saw Lion King,
Hmm.
yeah, which was pretty cool.
Mhm. It's all wicked there too.
Oh, Wicked was great.
So was that fascinating?
Yeah,
Yeah, see,
that's
that's
it.
So great.
All right, so when we come back, what, we talked about flood insurance.
Mhm.
What else would you like to talk about?
What's going on in the market?
Yeah.
Okay. But I mean,
I can
It's
chime in
like
too.
that,
Yeah.
We could go back to insurance after.
yeah.
Yeah,
End of
getting
the
your
year.
insurance,
We
yeah.
can go back, we can,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah,
Go back to
perfect.
questions.
So I'll just ask you, Patty, what's, in fact, I'll go into this question here. Is that, Welcome back to the Best of Investing. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with my co-host Patti Cohen. Mark Hoff is off today. Question comes up: what presidents, vice presidents were Aaron Burr and George Clinton?
No idea.
Thomas Jefferson.
Oh.
Right, because Hamilton.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we do have in the studio Adrianne Peixotto, who's helping us with some insurance questions, but we're going to shoot on over to Patti right now. A question comes in and says, is it still a hot market, or is it tilting the other way for real estate?
Yeah, I mean, it's a really, really good question because we are in our third longest period of economic prosperity, soon to be in our second longest period.
Wow.
So like anything else, if you've been around as long as we have, we know there are cycles in everything. And we're kind of due for, I don't even want to say adjustment, just more like, not even, just kind of like a normalization.
Like a 4% rise type thing?
Yeah, well, because the chunks that we've been taking is just unsustainable.
Yeah.
So what happened so far this year was not predicted because we've been saying for a long time that this kind of normalization should be happening.
Yeah.
But the gains this year are so hard to believe. Yeah. And it's all comes down to, and all we do is talk about low inventory. Yeah. Well, it just hit a 30-year low in the United States of inventory. Wow. So it's lower than low, and then also 6 out of, in the Bay Area, 6 in 10 properties go over asking. Now, if you factor in those that go at full price, you're probably down to, 8 and 10 or something,
Yeah.
And then in San Mateo County, it's even more, 8 out of 10. So almost everything is going at or over asking.
I guess sellers are just going to keep increasing the price on their house that they want to sell, just assuming it's going to go over anyway, right?
Right, and I think that I have seen several cycles like this, that I'm seeing overbids, like hundreds of thousands of dollars overbids. That kind of becomes, like next year becomes the little blip. I don't know if this is going to happen or not, but I've seen too much where it gets like ridiculous overbidding, which I already thought we had ridiculous overbidding, but it seems like we really are.
In the .com before .bomb, that seemed to happen. I remember some small place they were asking, it was like a shack with a very little lot, but it was in a good area, and they were asking $400,000. But again, this is back in 1999, I think it was. They were asking $400,000, but all the .coms were starting to come up. It went for $1,400,000. It got $1 million over asking.
Patti, are you seeing a lot of cash purchase? Because that's what we're seeing on our client side.
Yeah, we've been seeing a lot of cash. And
it's amazing.
It's amazing. It's amazing. And what people are doing are maybe private money loans from Pacific Mortgage. Private money.
Yeah.
And I don't know where the people are getting cash, but they're getting cash. And then we're seeing more than ever, I didn't see this 5 years ago ever, is zero contingencies. Like right out of the gate, they have no contingencies.
I guess they're just assuming I like the property and whatever it costs to fix it up, whether it's foundation or roof or whatever, I'll just add that internally.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, the buyers are so beat up, and they've been looking, some of them are looking 2 or 3 years, and they get beat up bloody on the floor every single time they bid. And finally, it's when they just dive and kill and say, I don't care what it takes, this is mine.
Wow.
And
is that only in the Bay Area or only in California?
Well, more so in California, because I'm in touch with like a lot of agents all over the world,
the country. Yeah.
And it's there, but not as much. And some areas are kind of even a little bit cool.
Yeah.
But Bay Area rocks because we have such a strong job economy. Yeah. Net more people want to live here than don't, and inventory.
And can you imagine being in like Kansas City or someplace where this is a decent amount of people, but it's like, how come we can't get the same thing we get in California? Come on.
Right. Exactly. Can you imagine owning a house for $150,000 and like you're thrilled 10 years later when it's worth $160,000?
Right.
Oh my God.
People are not
we make that
the
a
rate
day.
of return on that.
Exactly.
Yeah. I know, it's so funny. I remember like my parents purchased their house in 1968 for $40,000.
Wow.
Yeah. But when you look at what it's worth today, the rate of return is maybe 7% compounded.
Sure.
Because you're talking about 50 years or 40,
right,
whatever that. Yeah, almost 50 years.
Right.
So it takes quite a lot.
And is that in Marin?
Yeah.
Wow.
But it's sort of like, it's when I remember when I was in college, my accounting professor. Now remember, this is 1979 when interest rates were starting to get creeping up. Yeah, they're getting really, really high, right? And I remember him saying, "You remember the story about the Indians selling Manhattan for effectively $19?" Well, he goes, if you look back in time, if they could have gotten the same interest rates that constantly from today back in 1979, right? He says the Indians got the best of the deal. You compound that over a few hundred years.
Yeah.
I know it's kind of a little tongue in cheek there, but basically, yeah, that's Einstein. What do you call it? The eighth wonder of the world, compound interest.
Oh, compound, yes. Exactly.
That's why people talk about oh, I bought my house for only $100,000 back in 1973, and you say, yeah, well, what were wages back then, and what's it? Now the thing is, that's assuming you pay cash.
Right.
If you leverage it, then you're ready to turn. Yep.
Unlike art or stocks and bonds, when you're leveraging it on average 80%, is what most people do, pretty darn good.
That's true. No, it definitely
and the little government gives a nice break for it.
So far.
And you've got to live somewhere.
Yeah.
And you got to live somewhere.
Yeah, that's true. Well, it's so funny. I'd heard that some of and we're not a political show, but I just thought this was kind of interesting. The conservatives, we'll call them the conservatives, who are upset with the liberals, basically said, you know what? Here's how we're going to raise taxes. We're going to take away the state tax deduction. And if you look, who pays the high state taxes? Connecticut, New York, California, all the ones that are considered liberal states.
Right.
So it's kind of, isn't it funny?
Wow.
I thought that was kind of a sort of a backhanded way of kind of going, we're going to get you guys.
Wow. Then you start paying
Passive
attention.
aggressive.
Very. Because California takes that junk.
Yeah. And Connecticut's bad, and New York is really bad too. So all the coastal states are always like that. Tell you what, we are going to go to another break. When we come back, we also are going to have another question for Patti that talks about staging, whether that works or not. And we've asked that before, but it's, times change. So I'm kind of wondering if you even need staging with regard to how prices are going in, with overbidding. And does staging help with overbidding? So it'll be interesting.
And now we have data.
And now we have data. Oh, good. Okay, so it's not just theoretical. We'll get into that. And we'll also talk a little bit more about insurance.
Great.
And I also have a deal of the week that Mark gave me. So, all right, here we go. Second trivia question. This one I think is a little harder, actually. The Orient Express is a train route between what two cities? Everyone's always heard of the Orient Express, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Wasn't there even a movie?
Yes.
Okay.
I know. I can't remember it.
So here's the question: what's the train route between two cities? All right. Call 888-912-1190, and the first caller with the correct answer is going to win that free 5-pack tanning certificate from Tan Bella. Don't touch that dial. The best of investing. We'll be right back.
More and more we talk about trivia.
Because I like my allergies.
My goodness
I was
gracious.
like, I was holding it as hard as I could.
No, but thank you for. I don't have a cough button. So
I know, I was like,
yeah, no,
trying.
you did exactly the right thing. It's exactly what you're supposed to do.
And of course, we're human.
Mm-hmm. My allergies have been nuts the last couple of weeks.
People have.
So,
It's just like tickle. Yeah, I just get this cough, and I'm carrying water with me constantly, which is probably a better thing. But
yeah, this does go nice and fast. I love this.
Yeah.
I love doing this. It just goes nice and easy, and we're done.
Yeah,
it's cool. I should bring more guests too.
Yes, absolutely. That's part of the benefit of being a co-host is you get to invite people, and then a lot of times invite people who actually you do business with.
Yeah.
Maybe you want to do it monthly. I do it once a month.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
All right. We want to pop back over to.
Yeah, maybe we can just mention it's wildfire season right now, so some of the insurance companies it's a little difficult in the brushy areas getting home insurance.
Yes, and then
So,
there's a minimum
Mill
that
Valley.
you have to get for.
Yeah, to close your escrow.
Yeah, and going forward, the insurance companies make you take out a certain percentage, right?
Of what?
Of what the value.
Oh, yeah, the replacement cost.
Yeah.
Yes, sorry.
No. Okay. All right, ready? Here we go. Welcome back to the Best of Investing. Edward Brown here along with Patti Cohen. Question number 2. The Orient Express is a train route between what two cities? Paris and Istanbul.
Oh, good, okay. I was thinking Istanbul or Turkey.
Well, you
but
would have
yeah.
gotten one of them,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
And if you would have said Constantinople, I would have said, no, you're not that old. Okay. So, Adrianne Peixotto, question for you, or well, actually not specifically a question, but it is wildfire season, and talk a little bit about the insurance for fires and what's needed.
Sure. So homeowners insurance includes fire coverage. And right now some of the insurance companies are getting a little nervous because of the fire season. So certain areas where we all want to live here in Marin and maybe Kentfield, Ross, Fairfax, Mill Valley, those areas where there's a lot of brush exposure, the insurance companies are pulling out a little bit or raising their rates. We've seen upwards of 20% rate increases at renewal, and then some insurance companies actually not writing insurance for a while in that area. And they're just really kind of offsetting their costs. They've got a lot of homes in that area, and they're looking to mitigate that bit.
I was going to ask a quick question. Can one mitigate that by, let's say, showing that you take out the weeds, the brush 100 feet?
Right.
Vicinity?
Yeah, there are some companies that are willing to do that, and then if you don't have like wood exposure, so if the siding is not wood, or if the roof is not wood and it's more of a fire retardant type of material, then there's discounts that can be associated, or you can be eligible when some other house wouldn't. And then there's a clearance of maybe 200 feet is usually,
200 feet, wow.
which is kind of tough in Marin because a lot of times that's your neighbor's yard.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
hey, knock knock, can I weed that?
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of how it's been
And if you
going.
have a straw house, then they give you a 500%.
Yes, exactly.
Go ahead, Betty, you want to ask a question?
Well, so now let's say we have a situation where you can't get insurance, but the lender requires it, and you want to buy the house.
Yeah, so there's Lloyd's of London, and so as a broker, we work with them, and their last resort. They do have a good quality product, but it's going to be at least double the price of a regular home. And so we have some clients that are buying houses now that couldn't get coverage. We're putting it with Lloyd's of London, and then we're going to wait till like September, October when it slows down a bit in the fire world, and try and move them back to a regular company.
Yeah, I was going to say, like with auto insurance, the more you drive, the better driving record, you can usually get your price down. But with home insurance, it's really not like that.
No, I mean, there's claim history. So if you have claims-free history on your individual or on the home, you can get discounts. But there's really nothing you can do to get a better rate other than, bundling your policies together. Yeah.
And more people are afraid to make a claim. They will with car insurance, but with home insurance, they're just afraid to make a claim if they're going to be dropped or it's going to triple or whatever.
I mean, if your home burns down, you go make a claim.
You make a claim.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. The insurance industry says that the average person has one claim every 10 years. So if you fall outside of that, it starts to kind of get a little eyes on you.
Now, what about earthquake insurance? Because I'll tell you, this is my feeling on it. Is it's what I've been told is very expensive. There's usually a high deductible.
Correct.
And you have to get a certain amount. Where you look at it and say, I think I'll take my chances that the house will just be completely destroyed. Otherwise, I'll just pay for it out of pocket.
Yeah, that's really common. So when the Napa quakes happened, I think it was about 2 years ago, there was a study done and they said that 19% of the state of California has earthquake insurance, and that's including commercial and residential.
Wow.
So I don't think it's that much from that standpoint. A lot of times clients will decide, depending on how much equity they have in their house, if they have 50% or more, it might make sense to have that deductible to protect that asset. If it's less than that, then they kind of hedge their bets, if you will.
And at the same time, typically, the deductibles are so high
Exactly.
that you can reason that, if something big happens, everybody's going to go. And then where's the insurance?
And then,
Right.
that's a good point. And, they're back to FEMA again.
Yeah,
right?
California
I'll just,
Earthquake Authority.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll just say, hey, I'll just be like the other people who said, nope, I don't want insurance. Go ahead, government, you do it, or give me, I guess, what
A 1% loan.
Yeah, something low. Yeah.
I think unofficially, I agree.
Yeah, of course, unofficially. And then you can usually get, if you bundle your insurance, home, auto, and all this stuff, you get a pretty good discount.
Yeah, it's on average 25%.
Oh, that's
So it's pretty significant when you consolidate it and then put an umbrella over it. The more policies you have with the company, the better the ratings are going to be. So a lot of times if you buy home, auto, and umbrella together, the umbrella is basically free.
Really?
Mhm.
I thought umbrella insurance was getting kind of expensive, like $400 or $500 a year for.
It's really not. So 2 drivers, 2 cars, and a house is about $195 for $1 million. And then you
I'm
get
thinking,
discounts on your
that's
auto
like
and your home.
Yeah, yeah. I guess I'm thinking when I say umbrella, I mean I'm talking about like, the catch-all,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's personal umbrella.
Right, yeah,
You're
so it's
talking
the
about
excess
the
liability
excess, yeah.
that goes over your home and your auto, rentals, boats, anything you have. Everything has an underlining liability, and then the umbrella goes over that.
But you do have to have a minimum.
Typically,
of
yeah,
20,000
3 or 500,000, just depending on the company.
Yeah, which would make sense because if it's excess, they go, yeah, no, we want you to cover as much as you can on the other policy.
Exactly.
I know a little bit
You're
about
so
this.
good.
Like I tell Patti, 6 years of high school. All right. So, Patti, anything else you want to share with us?
Well, it's interesting to see what's coming next because I'm the most optimistic. I'm kind of dysfunctionally optimistic,
Yeah.
but I'm seeing things going a little flat, maybe adjusting a little bit from the peak. I think this is the absolute peak. It may not be.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Well, again, you've been around enough to see enough cycles, and as a realtor, I think it's good to be, very optimistic.
Yes.
I know you use the word dysfunctional optimism, but
Exactly.
I just look at it as just optimism. I mean, how did you feel during 2007, 8, 9, and 10?
Horrible. I mean, 100% of my assets and 100% of my income was real estate, but I still didn't have to sell property, and I still was standing. But everybody was scraping.
Yeah.
I mean, the writing was on the wall. It was like, okay, we're in it.
Yeah.
But how did I feel just before it happened?
Yeah.
No, I mean, there's a lot of studies done based on people's perception, and most people, if you ask most people at any given time, what's it going to be like next year? I think it's something like 80% are going to say it's going to be about the same as it is now. It's just human nature.
Yeah.
Or they're going to look at the last thing that happened that was a big shift and say it's going to happen like that again. So nobody predicted what happened last time. No one, well, some people did.
Yeah.
Watch the big.
Yeah, I mean, you got so many people predicting anything, they'll predict something correctly. Yeah.
But I mean, that movie, what was it called again? The Big, I forget. But
Big Short?
Yeah, The Big Short.
Yeah.
There were people that predicted it,
Yeah.
and nobody was listening. But I don't think that we're going to be like that again because we have prudent lending standards and we have the strongest
Strong
economy.
economy.
In
Yeah,
the world.
those two things will definitely help quite a bit. All right, so we're going to cut to another commercial trivia question. Trivia question. Excuse me. What female spy was arrested and sentenced to death in France in 1917 for spying on behalf of the Germans? You will know this name. You will know this name. Okay, I didn't just get this crazy old thing that nobody would know. All right, that's our question. Call 888-912-1190 to answer this question. What female spy was arrested and sentenced to death in France in 1917 for spying on behalf of the Germans? All right, and if you're the first caller with the correct answer, you'll get that free tanning certificate from Tan Bella. With 2 locations in San Francisco and 1 in Marin. Very nice people, and that tanning certificate is worth quite a lot because you can use it for any of their services, and they have some pretty high-end services. All right, don't touch that dial. Again, the best of investing is going to be right back. Yeah. Segment number 3.
That's going so fast, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So second break. We're going to get out of here early, aren't
Yes, we
we?
are. Because we're professional.
Yes. Yeah. So it's 4:29. We're going to get out of here in like 15 minutes. So because I'm meeting someone, and she's like, should I? Right.
Yeah, about, well, we have a 9-minute and a 5-minute one, so yeah, 15, 18 minutes.
All right, let me just say.
How long have you been doing this?
August 2010.
Ah,
Yeah.
Very cool.
Just about really good time.
Yeah. I like doing it. And I think it's credibility too.
yeah.
We're not
Yeah, well,
going to hear this, right?
yeah, it's on.
Okay, I know, I listened to one the other day and I'm like, oh, okay, well that wasn't funny.
It wasn't funny?
No, it wasn't. You shouldn't have been talking like that, whatever we were saying, or whatever
You mean
I
on
was saying. Yes.
YouTube? Oh, okay. But on the air though, it'll
but
just be
still.
whatever we do plus
Yeah.
the music and commercial. So yeah, that's why when people swear and stuff like that. They
Yeah,
go.
like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I had one guy accidentally swear on the air, and I quickly looked. I quickly looked at it. I had to let the studio know. I go, at this time you got to bleep it out. FCC don't like that. All right. I think about this for a second here. Welcome back to the Best of Investing. One more time, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Patti Cohen of Pacific Union International. Third trivia question: what female spy was arrested and sentenced to death in France in 1917 for spying on behalf of the Germans?
I feel so adequate, I don't know.
Mata Hari.
You.
Oh, Hari.
See, I knew you know the name though.
I know that name.
You know the name.
We
Okay.
always know it after.
Yeah, of course. I
Gosh.
should have guessed that one. All right, so Markoff is not here, but I want to give a little story for Pacific Private Money. So there is a gentleman in San Francisco who was purchasing a rental property, and it's got this basement that is not really considered square footage per se for usable living space, right?
Yeah.
But he wants to buy the property and he wants to expand effectively the living space by building it out. Well, there aren't too many lenders who are going to lend on that, especially this one happens to be a rental property. So he put down, I believe it was 35%, and all he needed was a 65% loan to value, and everything else is fine. He and his wife make pretty good income, yada yada, but there's not too many banks who would take that loan. So Mark Hoff at Pacific Private Money made him the loan, and he just needs the loan for about 2 years or less as he goes through making it a nice living space. Again with the regular rental, it's not just a basement, right? There's a house attached to it, and then he'll refinance out with a conventional lender. So this borrower is paying, I think it's 9.5% interest, which is high, but he gets this. He's getting a smoking hot deal on this property, and again, no bank will really lend on it. And then when he refinances out, he'll refinance with a typical lender. So Mark does loans like that in Pacific Private Money in their fund, and the investors are earning after Mark takes a management fee because he shares points with the fund. A lot of fund managers don't do that, so he's not just taking it all for himself. The investors in this last go around, the last month, did you see how high the distribution was?
I didn't really pay attention, honestly. I have a little invested there.
Yeah, the annualized yield was 8.4%.
Wow,
that's
great.
It paid 0.7% for the month. Annualize it out, 8.4. Compounded yields about 8.6 something percent. Not like it's usually.
It's great.
Yeah, it's running between 7 3/4 to 8%. That month, last month was particularly good. We were all very very happy.
I've referred this to several people. A couple of really close friends recently said, I have this money, I don't know what to do with it. And I mean, don't put it all in one basket, but you should. I said you certainly should put some money there.
Yeah, I mean, where else can you get around 8%?
Right.
With the average loan to value in the fund is less than 60%. It's always paying on a monthly basis. In fact, it's so funny. I always comment that what it pays in a month is kind of comparable to what most banks are paying in a year. Right?
Wow. And the other thing is, not only is it a high percentage, but it's on autopilot. Requires nothing from the investor, and you don't ever is it going up, is it going down?
Exactly.
Those apparently sleepless nights that people have in the stock market. There's nothing like that.
I know, or it's funny because you and I both have rental property, and and it's great, but you really don't like that part of it. Getting a call about leaky toilets or the roof leaking, et cetera. Maintenance, So again, it seems like it's a good fit for a portion of everyone's portfolio, and then the question comes up, well, happens about liquidity? What if I need money? Well, the hold period is a year. If you get out before a year, there's a slight penalty, not a huge one, but after a year, there is no penalty. And there's constant liquidity because these short-term loans are constantly paying off. There is some new investors coming in, but even if there's not, you know what? Nowadays, there's this platform lending where if they needed to sell loans and not at a discount, there are buyers out there.
Oh, wow.
Right? So it's not like the old days when you'd have some kind of illiquid investment. I mean, yeah, it doesn't get traded like the stock market, but that part's probably good because, again, your principal doesn't fluctuate.
Right.
You put $100,000 in, it
Yeah.
stays at $100,000, right? In fact, there was someone who wanted money out of the fund, and Mark said, "Listen, I can write you a check today if you want." But he says, if you want, it's your choice. If you want to wait 2 weeks, you'll get a full month's worth of interest because he wanted the money like halfway through the month, and he says, I can't give you partial interest. It's like we either pay the full month or full month's worth of interest. So
that's very fair.
It
I mean,
was
the
very
point is,
fair,
it's
yeah.
really honest.
Yeah,
Like,
that's what I
feel
appreciate
comfortable there.
Yeah.
It sounds
Yeah.
interesting. How do you guys determine, or how does Mark determine who gets to be a part of it?
Well, it's a fund.
It's a fund, like you invest in
Yeah,
it with
it's
it.
like
Okay, got it.
it's like a mutual fund.
Oh,
So
okay.
you invest, and then the fund has 80 different loans in it, constantly paying off, and then new money goes out, and
Got
he does new loans. One of the things I really appreciated is the fact that before he makes a new loan with money that gets either put into the fund by new investors or a loan gets paid off, first thing he does is looks to see who wants to get out.
Oh,
So that's
that goes
another
first.
liquidity thing. It's nice to know that if you want your money out, you get it out first before another new loan is put into the fund.
Sure.
Yeah.
So it's very transparent.
Yeah.
And that's one of the other things is that you can, if you're a fund investor, you can go to the portal and see what's in the portfolio. And in fact, what I did was I asked a title officer to pull preliminary title reports on 20 of the loans.
Oh, they loved you.
Yeah, well, it was somebody who I had a relationship with. I said, don't do it on all 80 of them. I said, do me a favor.
Top
And it was
20,
more
yeah.
of a property profile, but
Yeah.
still, as a favor to me, she went ahead and pulled it. And sure enough, when you pull the title report, the property profile in this case, you could see that when the fund said it had a $300,000 first mortgage on
Yeah.
123 Main Street in Berkeley or whatever, it really did.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, again, it's the honesty that I appreciate. So for more information on the Pacific Private Money Fund, you can call 415-883-2150 or go to pacificprivatemoney.com. Okay. And before we get to our last break, Adrianne, you didn't want to add anything insurance-wise that the audience needs to know?
I hope those people have Corsa construction insurance. So when the house is under construction.
There you go. Okay, that's right. I'm all. What'd you call it?
Yeah.
Course
Course of construction.
Course of
So when a
construction.
house is under construction, there's a special policy that needs to be in place to make sure that there's coverage for workers' comp, for liability, for theft of materials. It's a separate policy that the mortgage company or the private mortgage company would require.
And that's if you're basically building your own house.
Or a major renovation where you're not living in the home. As long as if you're not living in the home, you need to add this special part.
You know, that's a very good point because one wouldn't think of that per se. You'd think maybe the general contractor would have insurance, but this is separate from
Yeah,
insurance.
so they have it for their liability, so
Yeah.
they're protecting if they cause damage, but if something just happens and you're not living there and the house is under construction, there could be potential for new coverage.
Good point.
Yeah, because the general contractor is protecting themselves, but who's
Correct.
protecting you?
Yeah,
Good point. So you want to build a house, and your bank is basically going to ask for that insurance, right?
correct,
Okay.
yeah. So if you're getting a construction loan, but if you're getting a regular loan and then doing some modifications to the house where you're not gonna be there for a few months, the lender wouldn't think to ask that because they're not necessarily aware of that.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
Boy, I didn't think about that myself. I'm glad my house didn't burn
I
down when I
know.
did some remodeling,
I stayed in my house during my remodel, so I didn't have to do it.
Yeah.
So,
Well, when we did a major one, we decided to move out. That
Yeah.
was some years back. But boy, you know what? You hope that the people giving you permits we'd say, oh, by the way, you may want to look into that. Of course, they don't know that.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, don't touch that dial. Best of Investing will be right back with some closing comments. That's a good point.
Yeah, really. I mean, I never thought about it either, like theft of materials, for
Yeah.
example.
No, that happens a lot.
You know,
That's and the number one like loss in the insurance industry is during construction because people injured
wire.
and fire. Yeah, the wire, like it's not completed and.
Tony the Torch comes along.
Yeah, exactly.
This isn't going the way it's supposed to.
we're breaking kneecaps.
Exactly. This remodel isn't working out very well.
Yeah.
I remember Bruce Berman telling me at French Ranch somebody had taken. I mean, they had it locked up, all the tools and stuff, and in a big container. Someone just did it, hooked up with a backhoe,
Mhm.
and a chain, just yanked the thing open to steal about $20,000 worth of tools.
Just yeah.
Okay, so this one's only a 5-minute one. We usually just kind of recap, and close
Okay.
it out. Anything?
What do you think? Like, I don't know.
Staging, we've got that.
Oh,
Well,
yes.
we could do that next time. Is it?
Okay.
We could. I mean, I was thinking that we'd do it next time, but we could. Yeah, let's do it. I mean, I've got some. It'd take 3 minutes probably.
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
to go over.
Yeah.
What do you
Yeah,
want to cover?
yeah.
I'll just turn it over.
Yeah.
To you. Okay. Great.
Sure. Hey, you guys, chime in. Sure.
Welcome back to the Best of Investing. Last time for today, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Patti Cohen. Patti, take us to the home stretch here. What do you got?
Well, you know what? If you talk to any realtor, they're all going to say staging works. But, realtors aren't always credible in the minds of the public. They just want it for this. But the chief economist at Pacific Union just completed an 18-month study with 3,200 properties to look at exactly that, among other things. So staged homes sell faster, they sell for more money, and they get more offers. And we could have told you that too, but here's the actual numbers out of those 3,200. 53% sold. They sold 53% sold. Oh, 53% of our properties were staged.
Okay.
Of those that were staged, they sold in an average of 36 days versus 59.
Okay.
Right? The National Association of Realtors say that 2/3 of agents say homes sell quicker and get more.
Okay.
Staged homes sell for almost 45% more than those not staged.
Oh, that's important.
That's a big
Yeah.
difference.
That's a big difference.
yeah.
Yeah, because earlier we were talking about how everything was going for over asking, but that part of the question doesn't necessarily say were those homes staged. But now you're kind of bringing it home here.
Exactly. And the staged homes got 3.5 offers on average. The non-staged homes got 2.2. So we know that the more offers you get, the higher it's going to be jacked up.
And is there a rough estimate as to how much staging costs? Obviously,
Yeah.
for Pacific Heights, 10,000 square foot house is going to be different than.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I don't know the average because some of it's real cheap and some of it, some of it you can include staging. I'd say probably about $7,000 average. And I'm probably talking average price in $1.2 million.
Okay, and does that cover? That's not per month. That covers like a 3-month
You
period.
usually get like a 2-month contract these days.
Okay.
Yep, and then you have a holdover fee, which might be like a couple $1,000 a month, or maybe
Gotcha.
$1,000 a month.
I could definitely see that being worth it, especially the odds of you selling your house, you getting an offer within 60 days are pretty high, and if you're getting more than $7,000 worth. You have staging and your house goes for $10 or $15 or $20,000 more than you thought because of staging, then
Yeah.
it's paid for itself.
Yeah, and I can't tell you how many homeowners are just like, I will not stage. It's such a waste of money. But I also say to them, I really feel like you get 4 to 5 times more with staging.
Yeah.
So let's say the staging is $7,000, and let's say it goes 4 or 5 times more. What if I told you that if you give me $7,000 today, in 45 days I will give you $30,000 back.
And they have to get convinced that that's really what it is.
Yeah.
And I know this always happens too. But I have such beautiful furniture, and my design is so good.
eyes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Exactly.
we've talked about that before, where you have to completely take yourself out of it.
Mhm.
I mean, if pink polka dots and stripes is what's going to
Yeah.
sell that house fast and more, that's
Do it.
what you got to do.
And the buyer pool is millennials. They like streamlined. They don't want your grandmother's drapes or wallpaper. They don't
Exactly.
even want anything fluffy or, anyway, they don't want wood. They want everything streamlined, white, angles.
Gotcha. All right. Well, Adrianne Peixotto,
Yeah.
thank you for joining us. Hope you
Thanks
had
for
fun.
having me,
Thank you
yes.
for the good information. Patty, always a pleasure.
So much fun.
Here's our thoughts for the day. Steve Prefontaine, remember the track and field guy? He said, most people run a race to see who is the fastest. I run a race to see who has the most guts. And it's not the disability that defines you, it's how you deal with the challenges the disability presents you with. We have an obligation to the abilities we do have, not the disability, said Jim Abbott, who, if you remember him, he was the one-arm pitcher for the Angels and the Yankees.
Oh, wow. Very
I thought
cool.
that was pretty
Yeah,
good.
that's good.
All right, tune in next week to The Best of Investing. We're going to be giving away more free prizes for answering trivia questions. Thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, I'm Edward Brown. We're wishing you the best of
Happy
investing.
testing.
So long.
Oh, that's great.
Good.
Nice and fun. Wasn't that great?
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you
Yeah.
for coming.
Love it. Okay.
So again, this will be